the Washington Commanders may have just found their next defensive monster. Because if Sonny Styles brings that Ohio State speed, violence, and leadership to DC, this defense could become a nightmare nobody in the NFL is ready for.
Let's get into it. Talk me through this Ashton Jeanty TFL. This is so crazy. You dropped him.
Oh, my D coordinator used to love blitzing me. Every first couple plays of the game, I'd get a blitz in or whatever, and it's one of those things. I see the blitz. I knew Ashton was going to be someone hard to bring down. I watched the tape in college. Low center of gravity, strong guy.
Yeah.
Just got to get low and make sure that you run your feet on contact and go from there.
How tough is it to bring him down? I imagine pretty tough.
Yeah, because he's a stocky guy. Stocky guy, his feet turning. Strong, physical runner. So when guys are lower to the ground, you got to make sure to get lower than them and make sure to run your feet. So he's definitely gonna be a special player in the league for a lot of years to come.
Now you get to do that to Saquon twice a year. How fun is that?
Oh, it's gonna be fun for sure. Saquon's definitely one of the best backs in the league. Someone who can do it all, who's powerful, fast, explosive. So it's going to be fun, a good challenge to be able to go out there and play against him twice a year.
I want you to take a look at this. You are, and congrats on this, you are second amongst all DBs and tackles over the last 2 years. First in run stops, my man. You got 4 picks, 4 sacks in that span as well. I know that you're fast. Everyone knows you're athletic. Everyone knows you can tackle. What is something that you want Commanders fans who I know, and I'm all in. I'm all in on the Commanders. What do you want them and that fan base to know about you and what you're bringing to the team?
I would say just a level of versatility. I feel like there's nothing on the field I can't do. You know what I'm saying? I stopped and run. People sit there and like, oh, we need somebody to cover. I'm like, I remember I think a dude commented on the Instagram post about, needing somebody to cover. And I was like, sir, I take the ball away too. I have, 4 picks in the last 2 years, 2 forced fumbles. So the ball comes back to our sideline, when I'm on the field. So I feel like you're just getting a versatile safety, someone who can do it all, and someone who's going to be great in the locker room, a great leader, a great teammate. Someone who's going to have fun playing for the hometown team.
How do you know Jayden? Because a little birdie told me, a birdie named my producer, said that you mentioned that you guys have known each other for a while. What's the backstory there?
So I knew Jayden. We didn't really know each other, but he was at the opening when I was in high school. So the opening was like a top camp for all the top players and whatnot. So, I met him there. And then I met him in LA right before free agency. And I was like, yo, bro, tell him I want to come home, whatever. And, he's like, all right, I got you. And, I seen him in the locker room a couple of days. I said, told you. So, good guy, great quarterback, great person to be around. So excited to see what he does this season.
Can you tell me your, impressions of Sonny Styles? Obviously, there's the tape. I met him in person. I think he's, perfect for you guys. Adam Peters clearly obsessed with him. Not lied to me, but tried to downplay it to me ahead of the draft. But, he's such, a great, just a beautiful piece for you guys to have. As a man and as a player, have you talked to him? What are your overall impressions?
It's funny. I just texted him, 5 minutes ago to see how he was doing or whatever.
What do you mean?
Nah, I texted him because, when he got drafted, one of my guys from Indy, JT, he was like, yo, Sonny's my boy. He was like, make sure to take care of him. I was like, all right, cool. So, I texted him, got on the phone, just what kind of, welcome him to Washington and whatnot. I'm from here, so it's kind of just like, if you need anything, let me know. So I was just, checking in to see how he's doing and whatnot. I know the transition's a big transition, but, he's a great football player. Sideline to sideline, his 40 times speaks for it. And then the tape jumps off as well. Super physical, can play everything. I'll go ahead and, I'm a big video game guy. I play with O State and NCAA, and he's always catching picks from me or knocking somebody out. And, so definitely a great football player. And, from conversing with him over the past, couple days, couple weeks, great person as well.
What did he write back? Oh, you mentioned your boy JT. You have a chance to Ashton Jeanty him, don't you?
We do play them this year, yeah.
You play the Colts at some point this season. They're coming to you, your home field. What is this smile on your face that I can see? Right? What is that? What are you thinking when I say that?
I mean, it'll be good. You know what I'm saying? It's different, I feel like, going against them in practice as opposed to going this in the game, you know what I'm saying? So it'll be fun to see. I was actually with, Josh Downs this weekend and Ant Gould and all of them. So we went to the David Benavidez fight out in Vegas. So it'll be fun for sure to play against the guys who I practiced against and went to work with for 4 years. So it'll definitely be a fun game.
How do you stop JT? What do you what is that going to be like in real life? Not practice, fun.
Oh, it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be one of those games where it's a lot of fun. A lot of excitement.
That was so fly. But he was also excited to be here.
Yeah.
He said, "This morning I told my parents I'm gonna be a commander. I don't care what nobody else says, man." How happy are you to have a guy like that in the building?
It was awesome, and it speaks to maybe the environment that collectively everybody's creating here, and it's one about like absolutely putting it all in to be your best, and that's at every part. Not just coaches and players, but everybody pouring into one another to see how far we can take it. And if you have good standards like that and people want to be a part of it, I think there's no telling where it can go.
So, Coach, I mean, obviously you were excited. I was excited. BC was excited.
Yes.
It was an exciting time. The thing that got me was I thought there was no way he was going to get there at 7. Obviously, Tennessee drafts the receiver. When did you start to kind of say, maybe our guy's going to be there at 7?
It was after the 4th round pick. And so then you go right into what's the first rule of Fight Club? You don't talk about
Don't
Fight
talk
Club.
about Fight Club.
And so, okay, there's a chance here
right.
that this could go down. And so then they're waiting. Trade comes in with Kansas City. Again, Fight Club rules, right?
Don't talk about it.
And so then, once that happened, Adam was right there, already had the number on the Post-it, and cleared way for the phone call to take place. And so it was such a clear representative, like he put so much into ball, what he can bring to our team, and really pumped to have him here.
And Coach, a little earlier you said what we're building here, and that is what Sonny Styles talked about. I got to interview him right after he was drafted, and he said, the people in the building. He said, that's what made me buy in Ohio State. That's what made me buy into here.
Yeah.
How happy does that make you, that the culture you've built in such a short time is permeating like that, where all these players, free agents as well, come in and say, this is the place I want to be?
Yeah, 26 feels like a new start in some ways, and sometimes you don't need a new place to have a new start. And so the 25 season was so difficult for a lot of us. And so to have some of the free agents, you felt their energy coming in, having draft picks like Sonny coming and being a part of it, there is a freshness that goes with that. We're excited that he's here. We're excited where he's going. And we're also excited to be on this journey with him, to see where he can get to, because I really think it's going to be a bar that's super high. And that's something that you want to strive for as a coach, to say, can we take him to that place?
You talked about something I think is interesting. It's where he's going. When AP was in here yesterday, he talked about from the first game to the last game of last season, you saw a dramatic improvement.
Yep.
When you cut on the tape of him at Ohio State, what do you see from him?
I think the speed and the violence of action, those are the things that jump out to me.
Just give me chills right there, Coach.
Love that.
Speed and violence. Love that.
There's a specific play, watching it just Saturday night, I was just reviewing, and I can remember watching my iPad, I was sitting next to Stacey, and I was like, damn. And she's like, what? And I showed her the play. It was against Illinois, and it was a 4-yard game, but he was a curl player going to flat, and the explosion on the running back to knock him out of bounds was just remarkable. So the 4-yard gain of that, it wouldn't have shown up anywhere on the stat sheet, but the speed, the finish, the violence that it was there, it's over and over again, can you train somebody into that space? Because not everybody has that in their body to be able to do it. And so you combine that with the work ethic, the humility, how much he loves the game, and you put all that together, you really get fired up about what it could be.
Yeah, and I think when you talk about what it could be, I see a guy at Ohio State who's in multiple spots. He's kind of playing a pseudo-nickel position. He's on the ball. He's off the ball. How important is that flexibility for you and in this Durante Jones defense?
Yeah. Anytime you've played another position a good bit of your career, so he was a defensive back, come up through high school, and 2 years at college where he played safety. So being in that room and the communication, the techniques that go involved with it, now you get to apply those skills to a different position. You're already elevated at those skills, covering man-to-man, knowing zones, how to play that. That's a unique thing that you're able to do and bring. And so the best linebackers have for sure, the speed and the athletic ability to play safety. And so I'm glad that he got 2 years to develop and hone those skills, because it happens so much quicker. The line of scrimmage, the blocks that get to you differently. And so to really improve, you have to have self-awareness. And I asked him specifically, what did you want to see better from 24 into 25? and it was like clearly demonstrated.
That's cool.
And all those things you're mentioning, you're hearing that versatility. That's what Durante Jones came in here and said
Yes.
he wanted. He wanted players like that. So I have to ask, that reaction from Durante Jones, we know you were excited.
Yes.
What did Durante Jones say when y'all got his guy?
Low key, he gets excited. Like, but he's not,
He does.
He's like smiling, and you can see that brain already working. He gave just a fantastic overview on the first day with the veterans here this week about the defense and what it could look like. I think it's important for all ball players to zoom out. All right, what's the identity? How are we going to play? And then zoom back into the specific skills. And so what I like about this is he's adding into a strong group the speed that we've added through the offseason from at linebacker with Leo and Odafe and KC, and now you're adding Sonny as well, and Frankie and Jordan, and the speed that I'm hoping to see from our defense. I think there'll be a remarkable difference.
And it seems like you've got kind of a fun, unique challenge with that, middle level of the defense. You got three dudes who are really unique athletes. Like they can rush, they can cover, they're physically violent, like you were talking about. Like, how do you make sure that all kind of works? And what is your hand in that kind of?
I've been through that some other times before, and the best way to teach some of it is just by concept. And so you may have the safety position, but this is the technique, or this linebacker. And so safety's at linebacker, linebackers at safety, ends who can play down on the line. So when you teach the concept, it doesn't matter what we letter the person. It's can you do this skill? It's kind of like in basketball. Can a big guy, bring the ball up? Yeah, if he can. You don't have to just, give it to somebody else. So it's those types of things that allow identifications to be difficult for an offense, knowing like, why is this person over here and not to where he's supposed to be, and then blitz him or play him from off, and there's a disguise. And if you can put mental and physical pressure on the offense, that's really what you're looking to do. And we definitely have the speed to now put the physical. So the scheme has got to put the mental pressure on. That's how you can really affect an offense.
And it's cool to hear you talk about that, because that's something that's becoming more in vogue, right? Is like this, you're teaching concept.
Yes.
Is that something Durante is bringing with him here? Because that's really exciting, I think.
Yeah, I think it's important. Think of all the offenses that can check things at the line of scrimmage. And offenses have been ahead of defenses for a few years in that way of finding the best look, finding what they want to run. And so now defenses are starting to catch up, putting people in different locations, having their own checks and balances at the line of scrimmage. So the offenses doesn't get into a premier play against a look they want. And so the defenses are now checking that as well. And so you have to have versatile players, Logan, to do that. Because your responsibility at the start of the play may be different when you check it. And think of a run to a pass on offense. Well, it could be simple as like a blitz to a coverage on defense. And so having the ability to have versatility certainly allows you to do that.
And Coach, you've talked about wanting to bring guys in here that are commanders,
Yes.
that have a certain type of pedigree, a certain type of morality, if you will. And we know a guy in Sonny Styles, he's only 21,
Yes.
but he shows that leadership quality. He wore the number 0 at Ohio State. We know what that means. Talk to me about the person that is Sonny Styles that made you say he's the perfect fit for Washington.
Yeah, he definitely has some traits of football, the preparation, the like the game, like the way he takes care of his body, the training that the great players have. And so we won't compare him to, great players, because it's important for him to go on his own journey. I don't want him to be somebody else, but he has the traits of the great players that want to do the unrequired work, want to find it out, figure it out. And so, like a guy like London, who just finds any edge they can to say, all right, this can happen. He has those type of traits about him, and those are the things that allow you to ascend really fast, because you're not going to take any other way than to figure it out. And so he's figured a lot out.
And you talked about how special he is, as a person, and I don't want to put any expectations on him, but have you ever had a rookie signal caller for a defense in your career?
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.